Hey guys, welcome to the show. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. What I want to talk about today is raising teenagers. As most of you know, my youngest son just became a teenager a couple weeks ago, a few weeks ago, on February 10th. And we've been discussing, me and my wife, the differences of how our kids are as opposed to how it was when we were growing up. Now, we always say that kids nowadays have no respect. They feel entitled, this, that, and the third. But we have to take accountability of that because we're the ones that gave them that mentality. Yes, I'm strict on my kids. I always have been. I always will be. But there's a lot of things that I guess they don't realize they get away with because as a kid growing up, I always promised myself, I would never do this to my child. I would never put my kid through this. I would never allow my kid to have to do this. And, it's cool and all, I feel that I've made advancements, but we have to realize, there's pros and cons to everything. That being said, when you raise your child to speak their mind, you have to realize that there's going to come a time when they speak their mind to you. Again, my mother always taught me it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So with that being said, I would like to ask the question, where is the line between speaking your mind and being disrespectful? I've always told my kids, just because you don't respect someone doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful towards them. And just like a lot of other things, there's a thin line between disrespect and not respecting someone. The key to it, in my opinion, is, again, the way you say it. Not in a sarcastic tone, not sarcastically, but just honestly, genuinely speaking your mind. And that's one thing I've always told my kids. I will never get mad if you're honestly speaking your mind. Again, I understand tone, temperament, but as the adults, we should be able to read into those situations and determine whether it's them being disrespectful or if it's them just speaking their mind. Now, again, there's certain things that are just blatantly disrespectful, like cursing at your parents and, things like that. But how can they, I guess, bring something to your attention that you're doing that they don't like without it being disrespectful? Again, because we're all individuals, I like to think I tend to err on the side of caution as far as reacting. So, I pretty much allow my kids to get things off of their chest. But just like adults, they have to understand and realize that we're not going to see it the same way. One thing I've never done, I will never do, is tell my kids to do something and the reasoning of it being because I'm your father and I say so. Like, that's the most bullshit reasoning for anything to be done. For me, that just means you don't have a legitimate reason and you're frustrated that this child is challenging you and actually winning. Again, not that it's a competition, but again, it's a conversation, it's a debate. So in that aspect of it, it kind of is like a competition. I've always told them, if we're talking about something and I say, and I've got 10 points and you've got 9 points of where you're coming from, conversation's over. I won. I got more points than you do. I've made more points than you've made. Therefore, there's really nothing else to talk about. But I've noticed that a lot of parents feel, I guess, challenged by their children. But isn't that a good thing? Like, why is it so bad that a child is pointing out to you something that you've done wrong, or not even necessarily wrong, but may need improvements on. Again, we're all human. Nobody's perfect. And if you can't take, I guess, criticism from people that you love, that love you, then when or how will you ever be able to? This thing called life is crazy. There's a lot of ups and downs, and we have to realize that everybody's going through something, especially now with this pandemic that's been going on for about 2 years now, and there's no, clearing in sight of it. So we have to become more compassionate that everybody's going through it. Now, yeah, some people are going through more things than others, but pain is pain. And once we become more compassionate to others, I believe things is going to start picking up and things are going to get a lot better. Again, it's rough. There's no manual, no booklet, no anything on how to be a parent, on how to raise a child. For me, it's brutal honesty. I've never lied to any of my kids about anything other than Trey. I used to tell him when I was growing up I wasn't fast, but other than that, I don't believe in lying, period. I believe that people lie for one of two reasons. One, they're scared, or two, they have something to gain. And quite honestly, I'm not scared of anybody. Like, we all bleed, so we all breathe the same air. I'm not scared of anybody, therefore I'm not going to lie to anybody. And two, there's nothing I have to gain from anybody. I don't have a problem rolling up my sleeves and going to work hard for what I want, what I feel I deserve. Therefore, there's no shortcuts for me to take to have to lie to somebody or trick somebody into doing something, being deceitful, things of that nature. There's just no cause for it. But then on the other hand, there's people that lie just like for no reason, like it's a habit or something. I'll never understand that myself, but again, I'm not here to judge anybody or anything like that. It's just there's just certain things that I don't get. And some people don't get the concept of opposing views. Therefore, it's hard to have conversations with those type of people. And you can tell pretty quick in the conversation whether or not you're dealing with someone that doesn't understand the concept of opposing views. When someone is constantly saying, well, I feel that, or I this, or I that. Again, I understand you're coming from your place, but do you understand that I'm coming from my place? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves constantly when we're having discussions with others, because nobody thinks like us. Nobody is us. We are our own people. We're our own person. So we're going to do things a particular way that some may not understand, and that's fine. But are you willing and capable to sit down and have a conversation with this person or these people to get your point across? I love debating. Can't stand arguing. I will not argue. Again, I feel arguments are more of an emotional thing than a logical thing. You're getting upset because you feel somebody has done this to you or has crossed this line or whatever the case may be. That's not a conversation. That's not a discussion. It's not a debate. And once we are, I guess, comfortable with our own faults, those conversations are a lot easier to be had. I really do like to think that, I'm one of those people that can take criticism constructively. But as I said earlier, it's not what you say, but it's how you say it. So if you have a problem with something that I'm doing, the way that I'm doing it, That's fine. You are in your rights to feel that way. But how you bring that to me is going to determine how that conversation goes. Um, I'm not going to be yelled at or screamed at or belittled or anything like that because I'm not doing that to you. And once we start realizing that, hey, this person may have a point, they just think differently from you, that's when we begin to grow as people. And for some strange reason, people just don't do that anymore. And I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on why people always think that their way is the only way or the right way or whatever the case may be? So please go ahead and chime in and let me know your thoughts on that. To kind of switch subjects, I have to end every show with some kind of sports thing. Baseball right now is on the cusp of being extinct. Major League Baseball is having a real problem and possibly may have a lockout. Basketball season is pretty much winding down. Kind of feel bad for all you Laker fans out there. LeBron has done it again. He's come to an organization, pretty much got rid of all their assets for players that he wants to play with, and then it doesn't turn out well, and he's probably on his way out. Been hearing a lot that he may go back to Cleveland. Just to let you know, this is not a LeBron bashing session because, as I've said previously, I love the guy. Like he's a phenomenal ball player, and it would be great to see him play with his son. I mean, that right there, to me, honestly, that would make him more of a GOAT than anything else. Just having the ability to play the game long enough for your son to come into the league and play with you. I know it's happened in baseball a couple times. I believe Barry Bonds and his dad played together. I know Ken Griffey Jr. and his dad played together in Seattle first couple years of Ken Griffey Jr.'s career. So, that's always, a good story. That's always something to, I guess, look forward to. But other than that, man, guys, I seriously want your input on how do we close this gap with the youth of today. And instead of calling them entitled and brats and things like that, why don't we start reaching out to them to see if there's anything that we can do to make things better? It has to start with us. We're the elders. We're supposed to know better, so we're supposed to do better. So instead of blaming the kids on why they're acting the way they're acting, it's why not reach out to them and discuss why they're doing the things that they're doing. All right, guys. I guess I actually went on a little longer than I wanted to, but as always, I truly, truly appreciate you listening. I'm having a blast doing these things. I hope you're enjoying listening to them. And that being said, I'll catch you on the flip side.